And I'm going to invite you up right now. She's going to be speaking, and then we'll do Q&A, and then we will have a brief film of hers afterwards. So.
Thank you, Karima. I'll try to be quick as much as I can. I had 200 slides. I cut them to half, so I can finish quickly. 50-50, yes, cut it to half. So, good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. So the title of my talk is Right, Left, Right. And the talk is divided into different sections. First, I'm going to start with introducing the project, the inspiration, the methodology, and few case studies. So, right, left, right is exactly the Arabic script is written from right to left, whereas the Latin is from left to right. So this project explores direction in writing, finding inspiration from the past, from analog lettering, from the 20th century Arabic archives, and trying to move it into the digital realm. And so it's Arabic into Latin rather than finding inspiration from Latin to Arabic. So, and also it's taking you from the past into the present. And the work that you will see is basically the work that I'm working on recently with my students, part of my research in the College of Fine Arts and Design, the university where I teach, in the University of Sharjah. And we do teach in the visual communication program, we do have 3 typography courses. So the first typography 1 is the Latin, typo 2 is the Arabic, and typo 3 is the bilingual. So what you will see right today is the work that is done with typo 3 course. So where does the inspiration comes from? The inspiration comes from the very rich Arabic heritage. The Arabic script has so many different script styles and types and forms and categories, and so it is very diverse. I'm just showing you here one of the types, the different types, which is the Kufic. The Kufic originates from Iraq and the city of Kufa. Here you are seeing Kufic is one of the very ancient, like the first type. And here you see this is done by calligrapher from Egypt. His name is Yusuf Ahmad. And Yusuf Ahmad, he is the person who revived the script. So here you are seeing, this is Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, which is in the name of God in Arabic, using only one script, but you can see the different variety and diversity of the letter forms and the playfulness of the letters and the different diversity. So this project is not going back into the calligraphy or looking for inspiration from calligrapher, rather than it focuses on looking into the archives, as I mentioned earlier, from the 20th century that are using Arabic mainly in the Arab region. So here I'm showing you a few examples from the inspiration of the project. So this is mainly showing you designs done by artists who were commissioned to do design work. They're not designers, but they're artists who illustrate, who paint, and who created lettering inspired by either calligraphy or inspired by their illustrations. So you can see the variety in styles and the flexibility. This is by Abdullah Arnaout from Syria in the 60s, Dia Azzawi from Iraq, 70s and 80s, Mohammed Higgi from Egypt in the 80s. This is another designer this time. He's the father of graphic design, Muhyiddin Al-Labbat from Egypt. And this is showing you his work, and his work is He illustrates, and he is also working with lettering. And his lettering is inspired by one of the ancient scripts, which is the Kufic Qayrawani from Tunisia. And what Muhyiddin did is that he was inspired by the calligraphy, but he worked on it in a flexible way so it matches with the graphic design that he is working on, and also taking it from its religious context, working on the holy books, into working on more practical. And also right now here you see that he's designing for children. So this transformation is really important and has to be looked at and studied. Here you are seeing the work from one of the designers, artists actually, Hussein Bikar, from Egypt. But this work shows you his work from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Hussein Bikar here works on very geometric lines, and he creates some sort of this also harmony between the illustration and the lettering style that he works with. So again, inspiration, you've seen the visual inspiration, but conceptual inspiration was trying to find the bone. So as Michael Beirut said, like the typography archaeologists who try to find the bone, and from the bone creates the entire dinosaur. Yes, so this project is basically trying to find the bone, like which bone to work with, and trying to find the entire letter forms that you want to create. So my students started their visual journey, this is in COVID days, trying to find, looking into the archive, whether the archive is their own personal collection, whether the archive is going to the different cassette shops or like the vinyl records or whatever it is, or communicating with people back home, like from their grandparents' house, trying to find books, or even looking at archives, or looking at, for example, the history of graphic design of the Arab world by Haytham Nawar and Bahia Shihab as an excellent reference to work with. So I'm going to right now move into the methodology of work that my students followed based on the brief that was given to them. So the first step was, as mentioned, looking into the archives. After looking into the archives, we met, and then there was the let's decide with what each student want to work with. So the students have chosen, and it was challenging for them to pick what to choose because they fell in love with the different pieces. So we used the Google Docs, and they placed, and then we voted, and it was like a lot of interactivity going on back then. So we used like the stars to say which ones are the favorite ones. But then when you're very confused and you don't know what to choose, you need to try. So after looking at the, this is the work of a student called Anwar from the United Arab Emirates, Anwar al-Husani. So Anwar picked 3 different favorite designs, and for her to choose, we were like, okay, you need to try, just sketch, like try to do the words. So she did here the United Arab Emirates with trying to appropriate the lettering and into her designs, sketches. So then she did the selection. Actually, what I'm showing right now is zipped work. She did so many different experimentations, but I'm showing you just summary. So, and then after that, we were like, okay, now you know what you want to do. Try to sketch it as it's written, and then try to find the skeleton or like the spinal cord of the design. Start with intensive sketching journey, trying to work manually on manual sketches, and trying to find the, drawing the letters, trying to guess how the letters would look like, and then, because Arabic is connected letter forms, so it might look great isolated, but when you connect it with the other ones, it might not look balanced. So no, you need to work on some sort of pangrams to try to test to see if it works or not. So a lot of intensive sketching was done on the Arabic because we were like, okay, work on it as if you're just doing Arabic. And then whatever you come up with as sketch, you can then easily apply it into the Latin. So trying to take inspiration from what they sketched earlier, and then trying to do several different studies. And then digitizing the work. So digitizing the work was the second step, and after digitizing, printing, and then putting the remarks on paper, and then digitizing again. So it's an ongoing, it's a non-linear process. It's a back and forth, interactive process, and trying to find the grid to work with. For Arabic, it doesn't have like one X height, doesn't have one descender line, one ascender and descender. So trying to find exactly what to do and how to do, and I'm just showing you here, like as I mentioned, the summary. And then doing even close-up studies on the studies themselves. So trying to see and work with the different counters and seeing which one is more suitable for the project, figuring out the main components and the modules, and then finalizing after the long phase of work, the character set. So, and here trying to also work on the anatomy and to show it clearly through the work. So here, comparing the before with the after, it was interesting here to see how does it relate, but maybe what was your kind of like your touch into the work, because here we're referring to the artists or to the designer. It's like not saying or pretending that it is only the creation of the student looked at the work and they were inspired by it, appropriating it into finding the full different characters. The project does not stop there. It moves into the let's use whatever you have designed in different contexts. So here the student started sketching ideas for working on posters, proverbs from the culture. So working on different ideas in order to pick one. And here also like the digital sketches. And so the student worked on the Emirati traditional headwear and like the face mask, which is called the burqa. And here she's trying to also show this is the actual inspiration. So this is like the way the traditional women dress, and also found her color inspiration from the golden, which is mainly used in the garments. And this was her kind of like the final poster that she did. It's about everyone is unique. And so her font, they have to give it a name. After thinking of it, she titled it Halawa, which is the Arabic for sweets, because the students said, oh, I feel like I'm working on something that is inspired by the sweets themselves, and it's also a sweet font. So here she started creating the promotion and trying to look at the letter forms as patterns and to convey also the meaning and the feeling of the project to give it a certain voice. So, and then let's do more. Try to create packaging based on the font that you created. So here the student has chosen to work with the fizzy drinks, which is farqa, which is like for fizzy. So she created actual different packaging design. So right now I just showed you mainly, and then they did animations and 3D objects and summarize. So the different case studies here, I'm showing you very few. These are different summaries of what other students have done, but just like a summary. So this student, Mariam Suwaidi, she worked on the font titled Qitar, which is the Arabic for train. She combined both the work of Nasri Khattar, pioneer designer from Lebanon, with Dia Azawi from Iraq. So Nasri Khattar works with the isolated letter forms, and she took the design style that Dia Azawi has done, applied it into isolated letter forms. They're like joined like a train. So you see that, and then this one is by student Moza Al-Kitbi, also working on inspiration from Hussein Bikar, trying to create this font titled Nawafiz, which is the Arabic for windows. And Reem Al Musa from Saudi Arabia, here she created font titled Madid, which is the Arabic for elongated, and also inspired by Hussein Bikar's work. Yusra Abu Timan from Iraq, she created her design inspired by Hashim Samarji, who's an Iraqi also pioneer artist. And so she titled her font Samarji. And last but not least, the student Farah Barghash from Egypt, she created her design inspired by Muhammad Higi's book cover titled Left Right, which was the inspiration for the title of the project. But here, the left right is not connoting the direction of writing; it's connoting like the way in the army, the steps for walking. So here, she titled her font Askar, which is the Arabic for soldier. So, and that was the inspiration, and I used Farah's font for the title and the branding of the presentation. That's it for my talk, and what I wanted to say is more than 120 students, they created each one their own different font inspired by the lettering. So here I'm just showing you a summary of a Latin and the Arabic. The Arabic is in the red, and the Latin is in white. So just to show you the steps that my students has worked on, and thank you so much.
The mic wasn't on. Thank you very much. At this time, we have time for Q&A, and then we'll roll into a movie. She has about a 7-minute movie that we'll probably hit about 12:57, so that we can actually. I'm going to take 5 minutes out of your lunch. I apologize. Questions?
Thanks for presentation. I would like to ask about the capital letters, because you were using just in your project just like lowercase. Can you say something about, did you try how it goes, because it's quite different system? Thank you.
Yes, thank you for the question. So I kept it flexible to students to choose whether to work with the uppercase or lowercase. And for Arabic, for some of them, they did work on uppercase, lowercase, but for some others, because Arabic has this different height, the ascender, descender, so it was more harmonious to work with lowercase rather than uppercase for some. I can show you more examples afterwards of some students who worked on both, but mainly the lowercase was more in harmony, and it was like a best matchmaking with the Arabic itself, yes. So we're applying the Arabic rules into the Latin. We're not trying to keep the Latin as Latin. We're just trying to make it more Arabic, yes.
Questions?
No questions.
Yes. He's making me get my steps in today.
Thank you for a beautiful presentation, and the kind of whole spectrum of kind of how they started and where they ended, which I don't think, maybe it's not where they really ended, because I'm kind of waiting to hear how these will become actual typefaces. Is there any plans for that?
Work in progress.
Yeah.
Work in progress, because we have a curriculum to cover and different projects to work on. So this is like a work in progress. Yes. So yeah, we're working on that.
Nada, similar question to earlier today about where this sits in your program. Where are the students situated, as the first question, and then the second question being, how much time is allocated to a project like this in regards to meeting with them once, twice a week for what sort of time period?
Yeah, okay. Regarding the program, as I mentioned, for the College of Fine Arts, visual communication is a 4-year program. Typo 1, Typo 2 is a second year work, whereas Typo 3 is the fall of the third year. So actually, typography is only one track out of different tracks that we do have in our curriculum. So based on the work, the time, so it's for typo is, the semester is 4 months almost, like more or less, but practically it's almost 3 months. So this, for the students, they would work intensively on the study, the research and everything on the first month and a half, although it's not enough, but we try to. And then for the remaining part of the semester, they work on the in-use and the promotion and the packaging and the animation and all the different other components. And each student work on the font by themselves, not group work. So yes. And also the time, meeting time is 3 hours per week. Yes. Thank you.
Any other questions?
No questions? Why no questions?
Maybe we can roll the film.
Yeah, okay. I'd like to mention that 50/50 is a traveling lettering exhibition that showcases the work of college students worldwide. This year's theme was positive synonyms. This project is a collaboration of students, professors from different parts of the world, and it was done in intensively less than a month. From the announcement of the project to the finalizing, also to the jurying process. So each student picked a positive word from their own cultures, from their own languages, and tried to reflect it through typography or lettering. And special thanks to our jurors and to everyone who contributed to this project. I'd like to thank Eric, who's here. Thank you, Eric. Enrique, Agnieszka, and Nagish, along with some other jurors also who are not here with us. The animation is done by Mahmoud Kansu. He is an animator. There is a book for the project. Where is the book? It's a miniature book, 50 by 50 millimeter. Goes with the concept. So if you'd like to have a copy of the book, I have it. So just drop by. We'll give you one. So thank you so much for attending. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And that concludes our morning program. We're giving you 2 hours for lunch. We actually 2 minutes early. How's that? 3 o'clock. Also, one small little housekeeping item. It's Siva's birthday. Say hello to, say happy, I think we should sing happy birthday to Siva. He's ignoring me. Well, he doesn't want to do it. So please wish him a happy birthday when you see him. Thank you.